Hello. I was literally just in the middle of a rant about trying to get guitar lessons and dealing with idiots, and then we had to start the show. But we might tell you about that if you're watching live. Tell me if you want to know about my struggles trying to book things. A little update while we're there, because one of the things we were talking about was trying to sort out a venue for the live show. So the updated news is we're not doing the live show now. Maybe at some future point. It's become too much of a admin mess and expense, which has been frustrating to say the least. But that's one for another day. But just so that you've got an update, and that we're gonna do something probably as a producer's show to mark the live event. But we will email you all and give you information behind the paywall, as all of our lovely subscribers, over the next week. So look out for a message and we'll give you the update. What are we going to talk about on this? We've got stuff to laugh at still at Manchester City and Manchester United. Why would we not? While we still can, for the last time before Christmas. And then we've got a load of your messages and suggestions for Christmas, and some general Christmas chat, and then some more random nonsense if we need to later. Like, did you know Elon Musk's nans from Liverpool? That's mad, isn't it? But we'll get to that maybe. Where should we start? Man United. It's always nice to laugh at Man United. Yeah, that made me laugh. I don't think I replied to it because I was busy doing something else. But Robbo sent me a picture of Amarim with the I don't know what I'm doing in Spanish.
So
was that in Spanish or Portuguese? It must be in Portuguese.
Yeah, so someone DM'd me that. Lenny, it was Lenny from Block, or his full name on Twitter is Lenny Oostenbaba.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, he made that and just DM'd me, said Merry Christmas, old bean, and yeah, I enjoyed that one, mate, which is why I forwarded it on to Cope.
Yeah.
But yeah, just him on his haunches.
There's a lot of that going on. Do you know, something I like about him, because he's like Portuguese, so he's got that sort of what's the word flamboyant came to me, but I guess emotional side to him. He's not holding back his facial expressions, is he?
No.
Do you know, on the touchline against Spurs, when he's down on his haunches again. I love that phrase. That, like, just crouched down with his head in his hands, literally looking at his own players like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Use of shit.
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to... And have you seen... I think it was Ferdinand might have tweeted it, and fair play to him, he's just gone, well, we could just buckle down this year and get through it, but we might as well do this now, because otherwise we're just putting it off until next year. So let's just go through the shit now, because we've got to go through it.
But I what I keep thinking about them as well is, I mean, the few things, but one is like, there's no quick fix, is there? You know what I mean? Because you've got this squad that isn't good enough, with loads of lads who aren't good enough, loads of lads who don't really seem to have improved in the last 9 games. Because it's 1-4, lost 4, draw 1, isn't it, since he's come in?
Is it that many games already?
Yeah. So, shock.
And the wins, by the way, have mainly been in the shitty Europa competition, haven't they?
Yeah. So the lads you'd never even heard of, basically.
And even then, they've struggled to win those games.
Yeah. So, shock horror. They're still not that good. Shock horror. Him just sort of crowbarring them into a system that he likes doesn't work. I think there's a little bit of a question mark there, but you kind of get it, don't you? Like, that's what he wants. That's what he does. They knew that when they took him on, and I'm sure he'd say that. You know, like if he got called to a meeting, he's like, "This is how I play footy. I told you that, and this is still what I want to do. You've got to now provide me with dough."
I wonder if that's partly the Dan Ashworth thing. You know, I wonder if you would have an open conversation with Dan Ashworth, would he say? Because he apparently didn't want Amarim, did he? I wonder if he'd say, I saw this coming, lads. Like, he's a great manager and he's football's boss, but we haven't got the players in our squad to play the way he wants to play. And to try and shoehorn them into it won't work. And the rebuild to get to play that way is going to be ridiculous. So it's stupid to go down that path. Just get someone who plays 4-3-3, because we've already got more players who play like that. And then we can evolve. I can imagine that being the conversation.
Feels like he's like having a look at everyone, doesn't it? Because he's like rotated quite a lot and all that. But like, you know, like I say, it's hard to put your finger on what's actually got better in that time, and it probably isn't much. I mean, you know, the first game they drew with Ipswich away, didn't they? Then they beat Bodo Glimt, those powerhouses of Europe.
Lord of the Rings.
Beat Everton. Then they lost away to Arsenal, lost their own to Nottingham Forest, no shame in that, of course. And then they won away at Victoria Pleasant.
Yeah.
They obviously won the Manc Derby against an imploding Man City.
Speaks volumes about both sides, doesn't it?
And then they've...
Because they were shit in that as well, by the way, even though they
it was a crap game, wasn't it? And then they lost in the week to Tottenham, 4-3. And then they lost on Sunday, to Bournemouth 3-0 for the second successive season as well. They're flying, by the way. They're doing really well, aren't they? They're up to like 5th now. But yeah, my point about sort of, you know, how does this get sorted then? Like, what's the most players you can sign in a window, do you reckon, realistically? I mean, you know, we always go back to that, like, Houllier one where he had them all sat behind him.
Well, how many was that? 6?
Yeah, something like that. And it was like, but it felt mad, didn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, we all looked at that picture and was like, that seems a lot, that, you know, and all that.
Well, and also United have got PSR issues, haven't they? And it's not, it's that thing that, you know, you've heard people say before, buying players actually isn't necessarily the hardest thing. Selling players can be your problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, who are they getting rid of easily?
And sort of having to say as well, oh, well, we're just making a massive loss on them, or maybe even doing like, you know, what Chelsea have done, where, you know, Sterling's at Arsenal, but they're still paying a load of his wages because they just wanted him gone. They might have to start looking at doing things like that as well. It's all mad, isn't it?
Well, in the middle of all this as well, you've got the Rashford thing, gave an interview to Henry Winter, basically saying, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Like, not enough people stress this, I don't think. I don't watch enough people to make that comment, I guess. But he kept saying, when I leave, not if.
Yeah, he couldn't have made it clear that he wants to get off now. He's had enough of it. Yeah. But even with that, like, who's paying his wage? What fee are they expecting for him and all that kind of stuff?
Well, again, I've referenced Carragher a lot, but I saw him saying, I agree with him completely. It's like, everyone talks about him like he's this top player who everyone would want. And you're like, sorry, who? Carragher was laughing. Like, people mention Real Madrid and Barcelona. Like, are you fucking messing?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, because he had one good season a few years ago. He's 27. And he's on 350 grand a week at United. Who's going to fucking pay him that?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm sure he'd cop for, or you'd think he'd cop for a wage cut to get out, because it's got to that stage, hasn't it? Like, it's just sort of, you know, it's toxic all round, really. But yeah, I mean, he scored 17 twice in the Premier League, 22-23 and 19-20. But, you know, 4 this season in the league, 7 last season. He saw 21-22, he scored 4 in the league. You know, it's just, you know, there's nothing there, is there, where you're like, oh yeah, you know, go ahead. I'd love him in our, and like, and also, you know, a lot of the stuff that's around him is that, you know, he's got a bit of an attitude problem and he's having these nights out and all of that kind of gear. Why do you want to sign up to that? Yeah. I mean, look, there are examples, obviously, like, you know, Sancho going to Chelsea, and like, he looks like he's thriving again, doesn't he? And he's happy there and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, it's perhaps not a complete write-off, but I don't feel like people are hammering the door down to sign Rashford.
No, it's almost the goal scoring stats are not even the worry for me. Like, he's a boyhood Man United fan and he doesn't run.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not going to run for your boyhood team, who are you going to run for? Do you know what I mean? Like, isn't that just who he is? Like, he just doesn't want to work hard on the pitch. Or, I mean, maybe someone will show me in the future, or he'll show us in the future. Like, it is just a massive psychological thing. But, I mean, even with all the stuff I do around psychology and emotions and all of that, I don't really buy that. Like, you get to choose how much you run on the pitch, mate. Every time you go over that white line, you get to choose.
Yeah.
So even if you're having a bad time, you can still run hard, even if your touch is off, even if your form's shit and your confidence is low, you can just go out there every day going, I dreamt of doing this. Like, all right, it's shit off the pitch, but I'm going to run my bollocks
It's just
off.
one of them,
And he
though, isn't
doesn't.
it? It's where you're like, I don't know. I mean, I felt like when, there've been certain jobs or whatever, certain situations where I was done and I wanted to go and, I'd had enough and whatever I did, I couldn't get myself back to like prime me because I needed to go.
Yeah.
And
I guess that's it.
I'd argue that that's where he is.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that he's admitted that now and he knows it. And now it's just like, yet another crisis for them to handle. I mean, it does look like, I seen some Man United fan on Twitter the other day trying to be positive and, fair play, but it just doesn't seem like there's a lot to be positive about. And then you've got like, water pissing through the roof in the press
I was just going to
conference.
say, I mean,
Fucking
we'll do the miserable Jim Ratcliffe thing. Niall Murphy
him as well.
replied to you,
Just
your
seems a
tweet about
knob,
this,
doesn't
at
he?
Lewis Garcia 10 on Twitter. He's cutting the steward of the week £50 bonus. I mean, I don't even know if that's true, but I didn't even fact check it because it's just funny.
But he was cutting the Crimbo bonus, wasn't he? He's obviously pulled the trick with the tickets, sacking staff that have been there for years. I heard Andy Mitten talking about him, saying, because Andy's, dead well connected at United, knows Asby, and he's been doing that for United with Stan Vanzi, and I think since he was like a teenager. So, he's built up a lot of contacts over the years, and he was going on about like people being in tears who've worked there for, years and like decades. And he was like, these are people who were on like 35, 40 grand. And he's like, it just feels like, well, what are you doing?
Yeah,
like in the grand scheme of things, Manchester United, who Gary Neville can only refer to as Manchester United in any sentence. Manchester United, biggest club in the world, sacking people left, right, and centre, pulling head steward, sack the kit man, fucking pull the Christmas bone. Like, he just seems like a knob.
Yeah.
He just, I don't get what it is. What is it that you're trying to achieve? You're making people fearful for the jobs. Like, okay, and what's the other side of it? Like, what's the bright new future? And why haven't you fixed your roofs? Now, plural. It just...
that one, if the... Could there have been a funnier thing to happen? Like, I was thinking about, like... So, for anyone who doesn't know, I saw... It was a Samuel Luckhurst tweet. I saw saying, midway through Ruben Amorim's press conference, the ceiling starts leaking. But think about... Like, the thing I was thinking is, think about where that room is in Old Trafford. Like, that's buried in the depths, isn't it? And you've got leaks there. So your ground's crumbling, mate. It's not just your fucking roof that's exposed to the torrential weather that's fucked. Your ground internally is crumbling. You are fucked, lads. And it was funny because when he came in, there was that part of me going, I like the look of him. He looks good. And everything we've seen since, I'm like, you're years away.
Yeah.
Years away. And everything we've seen about Ratcliffe, I'm like, I don't think you're the fucking owner to turn this around either, mate.
Yeah.
Like, all this stuff seems very... Do you know what it seems like? It seems like the business equivalent of like Mourinho's management. Like old school, the way you treated people in the past that got results. Do you know what I mean? Do you know when it's like, it's the whole thing of like, well, you shouldn't have to put an arm around people's shoulders. They should just do their job because they're getting paid. And you're like, we live in a different world now, fellas.
It's not
like, people need a bit more care and love and attention, and they need to feel valued at a place of work. You can't just rule through fear anymore because people all just fuck off. And
I think
that's what it feels like to me.
I think it's going to be a long time before, as you say, because I just don't see what the quick turnaround is. As you say, they're not exactly financially in the best position they've ever been in, not through fault of any fans or anything like that. So you shouldn't be putting your hands out to them. So I just don't see what how you suddenly turn it round. And you look at us, and it's like we've built our stands now. Like, we're done probably, aren't we, in terms of the ground now? Unless someone could dream up something around the Kop one day, or do the old Atletico Madrid ground where the road goes underneath it or whatever, which would be amazing, but can't see it. But they need to sort the ground. He's trying to put his hand out for a free one. The actual playing staff needs a huge overhaul. There's we talked about it on here before, haven't we? All the like clear negative influences. Like I was looking at, as you were talking there, looking at the stats for who's clocking up numbers for them this season, etc. And it's like, you know, and Arnie you'd obviously expect because he's the keeper. But down from him, Darlow, Fernandez, Mazarawi, or however you say his name, Martinez, who's about 2 foot, De Ligt, who has looked nothing like what he used to be, then Rashford, then Garnacho, another one who's there's been some question marks about his attitude and face and all that kind of stuff as well, hasn't there? And then you're down to Diallo, who's probably the only one you would say, well, he looks like he's enjoying it under the new manager and looks a player.
And has improved.
Yeah, has got better. He's probably the only one, isn't he? And then after that, Mainu, yeah, promising and all that, but not yet really. Casemiro, way past the
Well, interesting that Mainu doesn't seem to be like a mainstay of his team yet either, which is Mainu.
Yeah.
I thought he'd just be like straight in and he'll build a team around you. But that's interesting that he hasn't.
I know. And that Højlund as well, just sort of not really like on and off with him and playing that sexy lad who...
Don't get him.
Yeah, and then, you know, Mason Mount got injured again, didn't he? And Johnny Evans is about 50 and, you know, and on you go, like, do you know what I mean? And like, it's just, it is a mess. And it just feels like it's going to, definitely going to take time. And, you know, what was the often referenced by me and now I can't remember it. We're not going to do a Liverpool, wasn't it, from Ryan Giggs? We're not going to do a Liverpool. Well,
how far in?
Pretty good impression so far, lads.
How far into it are they? Halfway? Have they gone?
2013 was the last title, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it's 11 years.
Yeah.
Well, everything we've just discussed, you know, they're at least 2-3 years away from a challenge, aren't they? And as we keep saying,
everyone else
we're
doesn't
not getting
stop.
shitter.
Yeah, everyone else doesn't stop, do they? Like, we look well managed, well run. We're all buzzing for the new manager. We're probably going to go and spend money because we didn't spend any money so far. Do you know what I mean? We bought in Chiesa, and that's it. You know, basically didn't improve the strength of the squad, but the squad's performing better.
Think how much better we get with a new centre forward, main goal scoring centre forward, another centre midfielder to add to the ranks, a new left back.
Yeah,
and that's three
strengthening from a position.
Signings. Yeah, exactly.
Not building something almost completely new because it's a mess. Yeah, it's I mean, it's hard to say anything other than it's great and long may it continue. Yeah.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yeah.
And whilst we're on the subject, before we get into the Christmas, well, this is all Christmassy, I think. I know some people don't like us doing this, but I don't give a fuck because why wouldn't we? I've said this before and I'll say it again. My whole fucking childhood and childhood was good, but I don't remember it. But the 20 years after that, I had to fucking watch Man United win everything while we struggled and didn't win a league. So I'm going to revel in it. And now as well, Man City, you sent me the betting odds. Pep Guardiola is 6-1 to be sacked. 4th favourite behind Lopetegui at West Ham, Postecoglou at Spurs, ironically, given what we were talking about before. Well, not ironically at all, predictably. And Sean Dyche at Everton. It's mad, that, isn't it? But they are in. I think it was on the one you were on, Scholes and Carragher, saying they're in crisis, aren't they?
Of course
this is you can't dress this up anymore. Because do you know what I was thinking about the Villa game? Do you know what's massively changed for them? Regardless of all the other stuff we talk about, what's changed for them psychologically is every game they go into now, the opposition thinks
we can have these. Yeah.
I was thinking about Forest. Were you laughing about that? Forest have beat us in United. Forest will look back and think, how did they beat us?
I know.
Like, that'll be the one for them. We're like, how did we not get a result there?
Yeah, what were we up to there? I know. Because that's their only win in the last 12.
Yeah.
And it's like...
And did you watch the Manchester derby?
Yeah, crap.
It's just shite.
Terrible,
shite.
I watched the game against the Villa as well, and, you know, deserved win for Villa. And yeah, you know, and next up they've got Everton, and that's after Everton have just kept clean sheets against Arsenal and Chelsea. And okay, they still can't score goals and they're not great at that bit, but City aren't great at anything at the minute, are they? Do you know what I mean? It just fell apart. And like, you know, they got another injury, didn't they, over the weekend as well? Well, you know, pre-match, Diaz, I think got injured again. And it's gone from, you know, it's interesting now, isn't it? Because it's gone from he's unsackable and we'll just sort of roll with the punches, and we'll be back next season. So now it's like, yeah, when you've lost 9 in 12, mate, it doesn't matter who you are. Someone's going to start talking somewhere if that doesn't turn around. Do you know what I mean?
Well, the problem you've got is the same point we've always heard, and like the Dortmund CEO said that time, but then he regretted it later. But in the moment, and people always say this, it's easier to get rid of one manager than it is to get rid of 20 players. And they are in a position right now where it's like, this isn't working. And he's just going to, I know we credited him before and we criticised Postecoglou, but it's not as if Guardiola's going to suddenly say, right, we just need to sit in 2 banks of 4 for 3 weeks and get some clean sheets. Or maybe he will, I don't know. But I'd be surprised to see him doing that, wouldn't he? And fundamentally, that's what they need to do. They need to like buckle down and get some results, because trying to play the way City play, they are fucked.
Yeah.
Because they're gone. The legs have gone.
4 points from a possible 24. Obviously out of the League Cup as well. 12
Struggling
points.
in the Champions League.
Yeah, 12 points behind us now, I think they are, aren't they? Yeah, it will stack up and it will add up, and obviously there's loads of speculation now, isn't there, about why? And obviously we talked about on here before, like, did they know something about the charges, and has that seeped through, and is that part of it? And I've seen a few people saying as well about Guardiola, like, it could just be like that. It's reached a point now where he's doing the redding.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's because it happens, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like, we know he's a bit mad, and we know he's intense, and all the rest of it. And when it's working, and when you're flying, and look, it's worked for a long time, and all the rest of it. But when the wheels start to come off, if he's doing your heading, the players down tools a little bit.
Well, we've talked about this ages ago. Do you remember when they did the behind the scenes thing? What, not the treble one? I haven't watched that, but one ages ago on Prime. I remember watching footage of him in the dressing room, and there were times when there's players looking at him, and you can see in their eyes they're looking at him like, you're mad. But at that point, there's almost an Emperor's New Clothes thing about it. It's like, well, he's a fucking genius, isn't he? So just listen to what he's saying. But I think the same we've just said about the opposition players playing against you. I think there could come a little moment in your dressing room where someone just says to someone else, do you think he's talking bullshit though? Like, do you know, it's not working, is it? What he's telling us to do is not working. And then someone goes, yeah, you're right. So, and that's, you talk about the old cliche of losing the dressing room, but that's how it happens, isn't it? One at a time, people go, this isn't working. And he's telling us to carry on doing it. And it's funny with the comparisons with Postecoglou, because at least Postecoglou can go, yeah, but we beat United. And the players go, yeah, but then we got battered by them. They go, yeah, but then we beat them. We beat City. And then go, yeah, but then we got battered by them. He goes, yeah, but then we beat them. Keep doing what I'm telling you, and once we've got the players back, it'll work. I think City are probably in a position where the players are like, we're doing the same thing every week and it's not helping us, mate.
Yeah, it's not happening.
What are we doing here?
I mean, I was just reading something on the MEN, and like, it's all their writers or whatever all saying it's ludicrous to suggest that he would leave or that he would be sacked. But when does it become not ludicrous? Like, so is he allowed to just lose every game from now until the end of the season, and it's still not ludicrous?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There will become a point where it won't be ludicrous. You know what I mean? And like, clearly, it's clear to see he's not exactly been taking it well, has he? Do you know what I mean?
Well, even he starts saying, which was interesting, I need players. I need my players back. And you're like, well, you're not getting your players back, mate. So that's a problem, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, one writer here is saying, I think they'll beat Everton, and I think they'll beat Leicester, and that'll be back-to-back wins and all that. And it's like, well, the old City. Yeah, but this City. I mean, surely, like you've already said, every manager is going, well, look at the state of them, look at the crisis they're in. They'll be doing all the video analysis, and they'll be saying, you can get at him, this works, his confidence is brittle, do this, do that, do the other. There's loads to work with, isn't there? Do you know what I mean?
Well, think of Dyche's team talk. He's going to be saying to his Everton team, you kept a clean sheet away at Arsenal and a clean sheet at home to Chelsea, 2 of the best teams in the league, second of their best team in the league. Well, we'll do the same against City and we'll keep a clean sheet against them as well. Give ourselves a chance. Would you back City to score against Everton if Everton play the way they've played the last 2 games? like even the likes of Haaland I think Foden's goal against Villa was his first goal of the season, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, fucking hell.
I know.
And again, let's revel in it while we can.
Yeah, and they've played a game more than us and they're 12 points behind us, and they are currently 7th, a point ahead of Newcastle United, only 2 points ahead of Fulham, only 2 points ahead of Brighton, who are in 10th. So, you know, there's a possibility that they go down before they start coming back up, but yeah, they're absolutely not winning the league. You know, lost 6 already, scored 29 goals, conceded 25. You compare that to us, and you know we've scored 37, conceded 16. You know, it's just we've disappeared off in the distance, and as the title odds etc. reflect, even for them, you know, they just can't come back from that, can they? Do you know what I mean?
Well, I thought it was funny at the weekend, Joe, when you're looking at the fixtures to see who your rivals are playing, and Joe, when you just notice your own thoughts. I noticed I didn't even look at City.
Yeah.
I didn't even look who they were playing. I looked at Chelsea and I looked at Arsenal. And then I suddenly laughed to myself going, fucking hell. Think of how obsessed we've been with Man City for the last decade. Always looking at who they're playing, always looking at how they're getting on. And already I'm like, nah, I don't need to.
Well, Duran had a chance like straight away, didn't he? Against City. And I was still like, as though it was City, if you know what I mean. So like, and he wasted it. And I was like, fucking hell. You know what I mean? Like the way I always used to be watching them. And then I thought, I get another one. And he did. And then he scored.
Well, we didn't talk about this on the main show, did we, Joe? All those Christmases we were top and we didn't go on to win it. I know we mentioned it, but it is a massive difference that City are not in this. They're not in this title run.
Yeah.
We're up against Chelsea and Arsenal. So for one of them to beat us, they have to go on a run the way City used to. Or we have to implode, which...
Just made me laugh because I know this is one of your favourite things. So I'm just trying to now escape the MEN's website. But it's one of them ones, you know, where it's terrible and you're getting 1,000,001 pop-ups and all the rest of it. So as I'm trying to get out of it, there's some like really old face with blonde hair and it says, she was everyone's dream girl in the 90s and this is her now.
Brilliant.
Woman gets old.
Yeah. Yeah. You will never guess what this woman looks like 35 years later.
Yeah.
Does she look, let me guess, wait, does she look 35 years older?
At least, yeah.
Do you know what I always love about those as well? And I feel for women with this sort of stuff. And at the same time, it's often women doing it to women, which I'll never fucking understand. But it's like they pick the worst photo ever. You're like, yeah. We all look like shit sometimes. It's like, look at this person. They look like shit. And you're like, yeah, I think they've had a bad day. That's all right. Some of us, do you get that, Jay? Sometimes you look in the mirror and you just look at yourself and think, fucking hell, I don't look good today. And sometimes you look at yourself in the mirror and go, good day, lad.
Funny thing is, though, like, this is like a bit deep, but yeah, is the answer to your question. But then I also think, I reckon everyone else is not looking at you like that though, are they? They're just like, oh, there's Gareth.
No, I always think that. Your bad hair day. A bad hair day is only in your world.
Because
no one else. When I look
people,
at you, your hair is always the same. And I bet you when you look at me, it's like, unless I've had my hair cut and changed it, it's like your hair is always the same. But when we look at ourselves, it's the minute detail. Yeah. See, like, my hair looks shit today. And everyone else is like,
you just look like you'd always look
exactly
like. You just
same.
look like you.
Yeah.
And I know, I do think about that. It's mad, isn't it? How everyone else sees you for how you see yourself. Deep.
It is. I've been doing loads of this lately, like at a much deeper level, like how just the entire world we experience is all about what's inside us. That's it. Everything. How happy you are, how angry you are, how sad you are, how depressed you are. It's all about what's going on inside your head because the outside world is just ticking along the same constantly. And if you can just take control of that, which I'm doing more and more now, it's like, everything's just all right. It's like, sound, just get on with it then.
I seen a quote today, actually, and I'm just trying to, it's like quick, obviously we've gone on a tangent again. I'm sure it was that Eckhart Tolle fella.
Yeah,
and it was
one of my favourites.
It was about anxiety, and he was basically, like, he suffered with it, didn't he? But
he was in a bad way, like before he transitioned into where he is now.
But I'm sure there's a quote along the lines of what you just said there, where he just basically said, well, I decided decided I'm not going to be anxious today because it's only in my head that I am. It's not anywhere else, type of thing. Although that, equally, that's easier said than done sometimes, isn't it?
Simple, not easy. One of my favourite.
Yeah,
favourite
I found myself like I put it down to in my own head, just spending too much time in my own company. I had a couple of days there where I didn't really see anyone, not through choice. It was just the way it fell. And I ended up doing all I did some stuff around the gaff, which just in my head I've needed to do for a long time, like just throw loads of shit away, because I've been moving house virtually every 12 months or so for 5 years, and every time just taking the same stuff with me and all that. And I had a really harsh look at some stuff. I found this box, and I was just going to myself, okay, this is a box full of leads and wires, and in a year I've not used one lead or one wire in that box. So I'm fucking throwing it away. Because what am I keeping it for? And guess what? If you need a lead, you can buy one and they're not there. So literally, why have it? What's it for?
I'll take that and I'll top it as well, right? Because I think that is programming from when we were kids, because that's the type of thing our dads and granddads did.
100%.
But the difference between us and our dads and granddads is, when our dads and granddads needed something, their first thought was, go to the thing where I store everything and get it from there. Our first thought is, buy one.
Yeah.
So we keep these, and I'm speaking for myself here, so I'm projecting, right? But I'm just guessing, see if this resonates with you, or if you're listening or watching, does it resonate with you? We keep these boxes full of shit, but then when we need a lead, we go and buy a lead. We don't go to the box full of leads and see if we've got one, because we can't be arsed with that, and we forget the box is there until we find it when we're clearing up. Do you know what I mean?
No, 100%.
So then it's we'll just fuck it off then, as you say. Just get rid of all that shit.
Well, I was surprised by, when I started doing all this, I was surprised by how many phone leads I had that actually worked as well on my sound. And I was like, oh. So I've now got a drawer of phone leads, but they all work. So I'm like, I don't need to buy any more now. I'm sort of a fucking phone lead. But yeah, I did all that. I was going through loads of stuff and just launch loads of stuff. Even stuff I just had loads of cups. And I'm like, no one comes here.
Yeah.
So why have I got 35 mugs? Because even if people do come here, it's never...
When have you ever had 35 people around your house for a cup of tea?
Exactly. So I'll just keep 6. Because, even then it's probably over egging it, yeah. But it's just cups that I quite like. I just launched loads of plates as well. I had loads of plates. It's I never cook for anyone but me. You know what I mean? Maybe the kids, whatever. But,
I was thinking about this last week, right? I've started, because I'm living on my own again now, as we both are. I've started rotating my plates. Because I realised I was only using the top 3. Do you know what I mean? You use the top 3, dishwasher, put them back again. I was like, I'm going to rotate these, so I'm using them all. Because it's the same thing, isn't it? But the downside, that is the first thing that popped into my head, was you end up the extreme version of that is ending up like that, the super fan on Alan Partridge, where someone does come around and you're like, I've only got 1 cup.
Yeah.
So I know, you can have the tumbler out the dishwasher, out the washing machine. You can have the gravy.
No, you got to strike that. You got to strike the balance. But I think I'm going to go to. I'm thinking of going to my books next, but that's going to be more difficult. And I've even been thinking, I've got loads of CDs, and I love my music, and I do play it, and I've got a CD player, player. But I'm like that. I don't know if I can ever last them. I just don't think I can.
I think throwing books and CDs is hard.
Yeah, and I was looking online, and some people do that where they buy them case things, and then they just keep the inner sleeve. And they put the inner sleeve and the disc in these cases, and obviously it takes up well less space. So I was thinking, that's not bad. Maybe I could do that, but I just don't think I will. I found, because this was at a previous clear out, but I found all bits of remains of a previous clear out to be that I've now, I know where everything is, and I put them in one place and all that kind of stuff. Oh yeah, in fact. You meaning to say, there's a fella who emailed me probably coming on for a year ago now, where I was saying about I've still got tickets from the first ever gig I went to and things like that. And someone's house I went to, they'd blown it up and had it framed and had it on the wall. And I was saying, it's a boss idea, I'd like to do that. And he emailed me, this fella, and said, I'll sort that for you, just send me a picture of the ticket. And it's literally took me like best part of a year to find the ticket. And I've got it now. So I'm going to email you back, mate. I wasn't ignoring you. I've got it unread in my inbox, ready to go back to you. So finally. But yeah, I lashed me tapes years ago. And I found that hard. Because again, like loads of it's like, stuff that of a time and it's meaningful therefore and all that. But I kept all the inlay cards. So I found all them. What I'd like to do is get a load of them framed in like, and put them up. And hopefully getting a house soon, so should have a bit of wall space compared to the absolute shoebox I'm in now. Like.
Well, and you know what? I think once you've got a bit of space, I think there is something nice about having collections of stuff to put on your shelves and things like that.
Yeah.
Like, there is something nice about having a record collection or a CD collection or a book collection.
Yeah, no,
I was thinking that about like, because I'm coming to the end of the year and into the new year and clearing my head out and looking at the house and thinking, right, well, I'm going to make the house the way I want it now. So what do I want in my living room if I just stop and think about it? And like having books out on display, and I like that. Like,
yeah, I do.
Just when you're just sitting there thinking, it's just a nice reflection of who you are and what your life is. That's
I've seen someone, and maybe this is influencing it a little bit, but no, it's not. It did need to be done, and so I'm glad I've been doing it. But I've seen a lad that I know on his social media. He's been talking for a while and like sort of posting up about it, that he's slowly but surely like getting rid of loads of stuff that he's just kept for years and years and years. And like, it was quite funny. Like some of it was like, he'd bought like the same coat about 7 times, like this like barber coat, and so he was throwing 6 away.
Yeah,
because he's like, I've just got this thing that I don't like it to be faded, so I'll buy a new one, but he'd still keep the faded one. But now he's like, I'm getting rid of them all, and he's like, slowly but surely I want to boil right down to almost having nothing. And like I've seen other people say that and say like it's like good for the soul and good for the head and all that kind of stuff. But I always have a thing when I'm doing it of like, yeah, but what, like, so like I was going through all my old photos and stuff like that as well that I've just clung on to for years and all that. And some of the ones that I found were boss and I hadn't seen them for years and they made me laugh, and I was like, so that's why you keep them then, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Other stuff though, like there were some magazines and things like that where I don't even know where they come from, and I was hanging on to the idea that someday they're going to be some kind of collector's item. And like I looked up online, because obviously that's the difference now, when you can look everything up. I'm like, it's just not. It's not going to be worth something. So I finally let go of them. Like the one that I will not let go of that Kelly always used to get on my case about it is, in 2005, obviously we won the European Cup. They made a special edition of Monopoly, like a Liverpool FC European Champions version. So I've got that still in the cellophane and I've never opened it. And every, like, because she's a big, like, sort of clear it out type person, she'd always go, like, what? It's not worth it. Like, and I was like, yeah, that's the point though, innit? It's not worth it now. But if I hang on to it for 20 years, it will be. But it'll be 20 years, obviously, in May, won't it? It's not that worth anything. Yeah. So I think I might wait till May.
That's frightening how fast that 20 years goes, though.
I know, yeah. I might wait till May and then have a look. And if it's not, if after that time, when's it ever going to suddenly jump up in value? I don't know. Yeah,
but that's the point, isn't it? In another 20 years, it might. You've got to think. And I was just going to say this: there's 2 different types of value, aren't there? To be talk about it in black and white terms. There's the financial value, which is what we always talk about. It'll be worth something one day. And the fact of the matter is, it only becomes worth something if everybody else throws theirs out.
Yeah.
Because it's only if it's rare that it's valuable financially. But then there's the other side of it, which is, well, what's it worth to you? Like, and that's more like, it's almost like the idea we've been programmed that it's only worth keeping hold of something if it will be financially valuable one day. Like, well, that's sad, isn't it? Like, why can't we just hold on to it because it's valuable to us?
I know.
It reminds us of something. It's nice. It's part of our life. And then, do what our dads did and leave it for us to leave it for someone else to throw away.
Well, I've started thinking about that because obviously, not that I think I'm going to die soon, but more that, like, obviously my nan died and I had to clear her house out. And then, like, I had to, like, there's no one to advise you. I have to decide myself what I think I should keep, what is sentimental, what might be worth something monetary value, whatever. And so I had to make those decisions because I had to clear the house out, and the house is gone now. It's done. See you later. So yeah, I made all those decisions with that, and then it then made me think, well, what will bit morbid, I know, yeah, but what will my kids be left with of mine, and going, well, that's interesting. That's not. Why has he kept that? Do you know what I mean, or whatever? So I was thinking a little bit like that when I was doing it, like, but at least in my head now, I know where stuff is as well. I think that's good. You know what I mean? And it's just good to like walk into the gaff and go, well, if I needed that, I know it's in there, and I can actually like open drawers now, because some of them were that full of shit that like you'd have to like put your hand in and stuff the thing to, and now they're all like quite roomy and it's quite nice.
Yeah,
it's like
I think that's the nice balance in your house. Is I've said that a number of times over the years, and I think moving often does this for you. We've probably talked about this in the past, that you can get to a point, like I've done it to my mum because I did it in my own house. Like I moved house, and when I went to empty a cupboard, I went, if I had to guess what was in that cupboard before I open it, I don't know what's in there. So you shouldn't be at a point in your house where there's a cupboard that you don't know what's in there, because it's just full of shite then, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, but once you've cleared everything out, when you can go, well, I know what's in that cupboard. What's in that cupboard? The cables I'd need just in case, or me photos of such a thing, or, well, that's a nice place to be, I think. You've kept the things you want, nothing's overcrowded, nothing's cluttered. You just, even that feels more peaceful. Do you know what I mean?
There's still some things I think that other people might look at, not that it matters, but I'm just saying, but they might look at that I've kept and go, well, why? Like, again, I know they do because Kelly used to say it. So for example, I used to religiously collect the Enemy and the Melody Maker, and I used to buy them every week when I was a teenager, and I had piles and piles of them. And then obviously when I moved out with my mum and dad's, they had to come with me, and then I slowly like parsed them down to like ones that had interviews in that I was bands I actually liked, or the cover was iconic or whatever. And I've still got a box of them. And so I thought, right, go at that. Let's have a look at that. So I opened it up, and I'm going through and like, that's Boss. Oh, the Mondays, the Stone Roses, Oasis, this, that, the other. Oh, the Stairs are in here. So, and it was good. But I was thinking, I can't do that forever. I've got, like, what's been in my head forever, since I was seeing frames from them with the good ones would be cool. Like Enemy covers from back in the day on your wall. Never do it, them. Never do it. And I've also got I've got every newspaper, bar the obvious, from like when Liverpool won the European Cup in 2005. I bought every paper, and they're still like in pristine condition in a bag, and they're nice to look at. But what am I keeping them for, really? I don't know, but equally I can't say to them. And I did the same when we got like the Hills revered. I've got all them as well. But to me, that just feels like, because that was historic after Everton, all the battling, all the years of, to finally hear the words that Liverpool fans were not at fault, etc., what we'd always wanted to hear. So again, I've got all the papers, bar the obvious, for that as well. And I looked at them all and I was like, it's Boss, that. And I was like, okay, put them back in the bag, put them back in the box, and put the box back under the bed, and we'll revisit this another time. But then I got off my own case a little bit as well, and I was sort of like, nah, I've done all right here. Chuck loads away.
Yeah.
There's loads of space. And like next time I feel like doing that, I can revisit and go, well, maybe now is the time, or maybe now isn't the time. Don't know.
But yeah, that's all right. I think that's the point, all right. Isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And so that was a very long-winded way of saying that, I felt down, in a bit dark, a bit depressed, maybe, whatever, the other day, and it felt a little bit like it might be too much time in my own company, and went for a 5-mile walk, did a bit of sorting out, and felt all right again the other side of it. I think you just got to busy yourself, haven't you? Sometimes.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I was going to say it. My answer to everything these days is balance. So I think the healthiest place to be in life is to know that you're comfortable being in your own company. Like if you're comfortable in your own company, you're generally sound. And at the same time, we're an animal that needs other people. We're a social animal. So even if you are good, because I think I'm good in my own company. Like I've worked a lot on, and I never used to be. I used to be, when I first changed my life, I had to do a lot of work on just sitting by myself, because I always had to be busy and around people and all that. So I got to a place where I was great by myself, but then this is what always happens, I see in my own life especially, but in other people, when you change your life, you go from one extreme to the other. So then where I ended up was spending too much time alone. And then when you realise, no, actually, that's not good for your soul. So the best place to be is where you're good by yourself. And if you're not good by yourself, you work on that and you find a place where you are good by yourself. And then at the same time, you fill your life with stuff that fills you up as well, because you need that as well. And that's what I've been doing lately, is like realising that I hadn't done enough of that. Doing things like joining clubs, do you know what I mean? So, this is what we were laughing at before we start on here. Like, I've just thought of another one. The number of places I email and contact to be like, oh, well, I thought I'm going to join an art class. I loved doing art in school and all that. I'm going to get back into that. I'm going to join an art class. So I found one on the Wirral, really like it, like the look of it, like the reading up on it. But yeah, great. Emailed the woman, no reply. Thought I'm going to get a guitar teacher, it'd be really good. Emailed the fella, fucking ball ache trying to sort out sessions with him. And you're just like, fuck me. I'm trying here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. The admin of life.
Yeah. Which is where, you know, mentioning Elon Musk before, when we get to that place where you can just go to a fucking AI or a robot in your house. Hey, mate, I want to join an art class. This is what I'm looking for. Just sort it out for me and come and tell me when you've done it and tell me where I need to be. Yeah. That'll be a great day. I'll love that. For, you know, maybe it'll spell the end of humanity, but
there'll always be a human there, though, won't there? Do you know what I mean? So even if the AI checks in, then they'll be like, oh, I forgot that I'm getting my banner cut. So actually, I can't make that class. Yeah. Or whatever. There's always something, isn't there? Yeah. I think you just got to cop for that. Like, you know, life just isn't ever going to be perfect. It just isn't. You know, you can do whatever, but there'll just always be bollocks to deal with.
It's one of my favourite things, honestly. I started working with a new coach last week or a couple of weeks ago, and he said something to me which I've learned so many times, but it was just sort of the way he said it. It really hit me. Talk about like attachment styles inside relationships and stuff. And he just went, at the end of the day, Paul, the way I see it is, this stuff is so ingrained in us from childhood, it's probably never going to go away. So you can work on it loads and make it better, but just accept it's just there. Yeah. And I was like, just the way he said it to me, I was like, it just made me feel so much better. And I was like, yeah, I'm just getting better at just accepting parts of myself where I'm just like, that's just there, mate. Like, do your best with it. But it is what it is. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
I'm just thinking, this has just come to me now. So Cara played a trick on me once, and he's desperate to he hasn't got this anymore. He changed phone, that was it. And he's desperate to have it again. And I'm like, you're not having it again. It's like a recording of him having me off, basically. And so I've been thinking for a while, well, I could just send him it back, or I could just like put it in something like this, and then it's just out there and done then, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? So do you want me to play it?
Well, I don't know what it is. Go on.
It's just a little, it should work if I just put my phone next to the microphone, won't it? Yeah. Give it a go then.
Hello? It's hello.
Ooh.
Hello?
Hello?
Hi, stop using my Wi-Fi.
I'm not using your Wi-Fi and not with you.
You've been using my Wi-Fi. I looked up your IP address and found your phone number.
Did you, yeah?
Then why did your search history appear when I signed in? Explain that.
What are you talking about, you nonce?
How did you even get my password? You a hacker?
Who are you?
I'm not arguing with you. Just stop,
no, you're
or I'm getting the police involved.
You rang my phone and you're kicking off on me. I have no idea who you are. And
no excuses. Just listen up.
Come on here.
Why don't you just set up your own Wi-Fi?
I've got my own Wi-Fi, thank you. Who the fuck are you?
I pay for that with my hard-earned money. Get a job.
I've got a job, you prick.
You are a bandwidth thief. You're the reason the economy is failing.
Prove it.
You are Wi-Fi stealing scum.
You are a weird bellend ringing strangers acting hard on the internet.
You've been pranked by prankdial.com.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, so
I can imagine he was made up. He got you with that.
The best thing about it, though,
do you know what's brilliant about that? Just seeing what range of insults you go through in a 2-minute conversation with some complete stranger. You prick, you nonce.
Nonce. I went early with nonce.
You went early with nonce, yeah.
Went early with nonce. And the best bit about it as well was, like, I obviously, as you can hear, had no idea. And the best thing about it was I was with him, with Cara, when he did that to me. So we were sitting in like the living room in my
God,
flat.
so we got to see your
a
reaction
few years
live.
ago this was, yeah.
That's brilliant.
And he was-
well played, Cara.
And
That
he
is
never
great.
flinched. So he's just like on his phone as far as I'm concerned, do you know what I mean? Then my phone goes. No facial expression, didn't laugh, nothing. He's just sort of like looking over like a with a, oh, what's that type of face. And then when it got to the end, then obviously he buzzed off it like, and that's just like fair play. So he was going on about it the other day. I think he wanted to like send it to his mates, and I was like,
that's
nah, you're not having that again.
Where did he get it from? What did it say at the end where it's from?
Prank dial or something it's called. But he like played it to like his nan and granddad and everything. Like I was like, oh yeah, cheers for
Nice
that.
one.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nice one. But he was going on about it the other day, so I played it again because I knew I still had it on my phone, and it made me laugh. Like Kelly was just like, see, you know, see how narky you are, see how angry you are. And I was like, hang on. Forget that I didn't realise it was a prank, did I? Obviously. And I said, some fella ringing up calling me a Wi-Fi stealing scum.
I've just found the website. Wi-Fi Thief is the most popular one. They've
Is
got
it, yeah?
6.6 million sent.
Wow. There you go. So potentially 6 million people are being had off by that, including me.
That's brilliant. I'm already thinking if I could send one of these too. I love that. I did that. It wasn't my idea. I saw it and then I did it on mine. Have you ever? I used to do it as a great way to do it is, but it was before they did the voicemail. So you didn't. It was. I don't know whether you can still do this setting on a phone. So when you came through to the voicemail, it didn't tell you it was voicemail. So I had my voicemail set up. So I just answered. I just went hello. And then the other person would talk, and then you just leave a gap like he does, like that the system does, and then you go like, "Hello, I can't hear you. Who's that?" And it's just boss because you get people for ages, and then you end up getting messages going like, the only difference is it doesn't record that bit.
Yeah.
But so you get people messaging going, "You fucking prick! Just been talking to your voicemail for 5 minutes there. You fucking knobhead." I love stuff like that. You know, that's brilliant. Fair play.
We've done no Christmas here. Like
I know.
Crimbo
we've really
Joy.
Finished. We've really finished. And the title. Well, there was Crimbo Joy in laughing at Man United and Man City.
Well,
do you want to do
true.
Do you want to do a bit of Christmas before we go?
I think I've seen the only thing I could think, I don't know if it's in your agenda now because I've clicked off it, but it doesn't really matter, does it? I seen a question somewhere along the way
in the agenda
about, you know, like what was it that you wanted for Crimbo and didn't get or something like that.
Yeah. We've had a few different questions in. Mingle said retro Christmas presents, the gift you really wanted versus what you got, go-to presents when you were a kid, roses versus Quality Street versus heroes versus celebrations. Nathan at Nathan132 said best and worst Christmas present you've ever received, either when you were younger or older. Quasimodo at By My Fireside said best Christmas present you got as a kid.
Well, the way you just threw that in
What?
as though it was Quasimodo at By My Fireside.
What's wrong with that?
It's just a mad username, man.
You're just so used to it, aren't you, reading stuff on Twitter? It's just like fucking always wild. It's not even Quasimodo, it's Quasimodo, as in
Oh, I know what you mean, actually, yeah.
So you can do anything. I was going to have a chat about favourite Christmas films and favourite Christmas songs. I looked up some, like, those lists of, like, best Christmas movies ever and stuff to give us stuff to talk about. And I went on one of them and I was just like, oh, fuck off. It reminded me of, Joe, when you could do, like, that, you hear people to go, like, anyone you could have dinner with, dead or alive, who would you have? And someone goes, like, oh, Gandhi. And you go, oh, fuck off. Stop trying to sound clever. The top 5, like, best films on this list were films I'd never even heard of. And you're like, oh, fuck off. Stop trying to be clever. Pick the films that we all know are the fucking best Christmas films and decide between
Elf's
them.
on, doesn't it? I like
Elf's
that.
a good one. Yeah, I think I'm gonna watch Elf. I was gonna say, do you have any go-tos you watch every year?
I
haven't
always-
watched any yet.
No, I haven't watched any. I watched The Snowman, actually, with Oliver, just because obviously he'd never seen it before. And I just kept singing the song to him and he just kept making up his own version, saying, well, I'm walking in the poo. But he was amused by it, like, so, you know, fair play.
Something you'll never, this again, and the gender debate and all that. Yeah, you can show the difference between a young boy, you know that you've had boys and girls. Girls are not obsessed with poo in the way that boys are.
Oh, yeah.
I bought the two lads a fart machine. it's like the greatest thing anyone has ever given to them.
Honestly,
I laughed because I gave it to them, then they took it away. And the next day I got a message from Siobhan saying like, I was like, sorry about that. Like, it's, you know, I get to be the role now of giving them stuff that's boss and it doesn't do my head in, so I'm not there. And she was like, it was the first thing they asked for when they woke up. So they'll just be doing everyone's fucking head in, because kids haven't got that thing, have they, that it's funny when no one knows it's there.
Yeah.
But once everyone knows it's there, it's not funny in that way anymore. But they're like, it is, because it's a machine that makes the sound of a fucking fart. And fart and poo is funny to little boys. Simple as that.
Yeah. So I did always used to, but I've got no urge to watch it this year. I feel like I've overdone it, but I did always used to watch Bad Santa because it was like the first one.
Oh yeah.
I just thought it was boss.
I should put that on my list because
you've never seen it?
I've seen it, but I don't remember it, so I should watch it.
It's class. Boss. So I'd always watch that. But I don't think I'm going to bother this year. I've got no urge to. I feel like I've overdone it. I've got no urge to watch any of them really. Not through like a Grinch thing. Just I'm just not bothered.
Well,
like,
I've decided, because someone replied to us, didn't they, a couple of weeks ago when I mentioned that It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch It's a Wonderful Life on Christmas Eve. Because someone said, no, it's uplifting. It's good. It's a nice, wholesome movie.
Oh, well, you can review it next week, lad.
Yeah. I'll tell you whether it was shite because it's dead old.
No, I haven't got any others that I'm sort of desperate to watch. I'm just working my way through The Jackal at the minute. That's what I'm watching. So I'll finish that and then watch something else.
Not very Christmassy.
It's not very Christmassy, but it's decent.
It's good, yeah.
In terms of toys and that, I've got a few, but I'm realising that they make me sound dead old. I mean, I am quite old, like, so I suppose that's why. But I feel like there was loads of things that I did want and never got. So yeah, cheers for that, mum and dad.
But we were from a generation where that was just the way it was, weren't we?
Yeah.
Like, you just had to wait and want stuff.
Yeah, or
because you didn't just get everything you ever wanted.
No, you didn't. Did you? Fuck, I know. So I wanted Big Track, but I never got that. Do you know what that is?
No, what was that?
So I've just googled it to get like, you know, a something I can read out. It was basically like this thing on wheels, and you could like program it. The description is Big Track is a I can't even say the word, programmable toy electric vehicle, created in 1979, like I say, age, resembling a futuristic sci-fi tank utility vehicle. It was a 6-wheel tank with a front-mounted blue photon beam headlamp with a keyboard on top. When I look at it now, it looks pretty shit, to be honest. But, you know, it was a while ago. You can still buy them as well. You know, everything comes back round, doesn't it? So they're 150 quid on Amazon by the looks of it. So there was that. I always wanted that. I always wanted, do you remember Tin Can Alley?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted that. So it was like little tins, and then you fired this like sort of light gun thing at it, didn't you? But I never got that. And then there was various computers that I just never got. You know, like, so like there was people in school and that who had like Atari STs and Amigas and all that kind of stuff. I never reached that level. I remember my dad bought a Spectrum, and not even the good one with the built-in tape. It was like the 48K one. So that was my first, you know, playing Horace Goes Skiing and The Hobbit and all classics like that. And then I had a Commodore 64, which I think I've said on here before. I loved that, and it was boss. And I saved up, and I bought myself a cartridge that meant you could copy the games. Because with Spectrum games, you could just do tape to tape and it worked. But they did something with Commodore games and it didn't. And so so piracy of Commodore games wasn't a thing until someone invented this cartridge. But it was about 50 quid. Which then was a lot of money. But I got one, and I think I've told this story on here before. I got one, and then basically it was like a bit of a Del Boy thing, really. Like I got someone in school to rob tapes, and I gave them a bit of a cut, and I'd put 20 Commodore games on a tape, and then sell the tape for $5. And no one else had this action replay cartridge that I had, so I was in, you know what I mean? I sold a fair few of them, like. But then once everyone started, well, not everyone, once a lot of people started moving on to Amigas and STs, I was put out of business, like. But I never got one of them. So yeah, that's another one. What about you? I remember as well, BMXs was another one. So everyone, like, what felt like everyone got like burners and super burners and, you know, all Bosch BMXs. I got some shit one that was like crap colours and weighed a ton and was like dead hard to do wheelies on and stuff like that, which is exactly what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And my mate in our road had like a super burner, you know, like the gold and black one with like the, like, what would they call it, like mag wheels or something like that. But basically it was dead light and it was dead easy to do tricks on it and all that. And then I had this tank and I was just like, yeah, cheers, like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? So that was another one.
Okay, now I can probably trump your awful bike story. I've told you this. Like, me dad, same thing. Like, Joe wants the cool bike like that, and me fucking dad, just such a practical man who couldn't see the world through a kid's eyes. I could only see it through his own 50-year-old eyes. Do you know what I mean? Got me this fucking mountain bike with a dynamo on it. Do you know what that is? Where
So
you
it does
attach
the
it to
lights.
the wheel and does the lights.
Yeah.
And it had a fucking, like, not quite a basket, but like a fucking metal shelf above the back wheel. And then he put loads of them
know,
in.
yeah.
Do you know, like, so you could put stuff on, like a
Yeah,
roof
yeah.
rack, but for your bike. And then he put loads of, do you know, the things you could collect in, like Kellogg's cornflakes, like
the
they put on the
spokies.
spokes.
Yeah.
And they went up and down. And I remember they gave me the bike, and obviously I was trained to be a people pleaser as a child, so was like dead grateful and all that. And I remember taking it into school for like
Got ripped.
cycling proficiency and just got the fucking arse ripped out of me. It was just like, this is shite. People taking the piss. I was just like, I fucking hated it. Do you know what I mean? I remember doing that thing of like, Joe, you wanted to fucking set it on fire. Didn't want it. And but as you were talking, the present I wanted that I never got was I wanted a Nintendo, Joe, the original Nintendo, but I wanted Duck Hunt.
Oh,
Joe,
yeah. I remember that.
The game, I loved them games, Joe, in the arcades, the shooting games.
Yeah.
And like the fact you could get one of them at home, and I knew a lad who had it, and whenever I went round to his, I was just like, can we play Duck Hunt? And he didn't want to play it because he had it. So it was like, he always played it. And I was just like, fucking hell, I never got it. Never got a Nintendo, never got Duck Hunt. Remember, my dad was an insurance assessor, so every now and then he'd like, you know, someone would claim something on their insurance and he'd have to go around and inspect stuff. But if they were claiming for something like this, a Sega Mega Drive got damaged, but he was like, yeah, well, the company will replace it, but we take the old one away with us. But then it was just to go in the bin. So we got this like smashed up Sega Mega Drive, and he was like, it still works, it's fine. And me and my sister there trying to play like Sonic on this fucking smashed up Sega Mega Drive, thinking, fuck off.
Yeah.
Just get me a proper fucking Sega Mega Drive.
I think that's definitely like a generation of, it sounds similar to my half fella, really. Because even when I got that Commodore 64, which was made up with, it wasn't the cool one. So there was like, if you look back at Commodore 64s, I'm sure no one will, but there was like a cream shell one, which was like quite streamlined and looked boss. And then there was like an older one, which was fucking like massive, brown, looked ugly as fuck. And of course, I got that one.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it did always feel like, I remember like, it was the same with Everton. It was like, I remember getting like, you know, so many arguments about like trainees and clothes and all that. And it was always like, oh, these are, what's wrong with them? And you'd be like, oh, fuck off. I remember like getting these shoes once. So my ma got me these shoes, having a big argument with them about wearing them for school. And it was like, I'm sure I must have made the point. I was like, do you know what it's like in school? Because like, I don't know what it was like when you went, but where I got in my time and at this school, if I go to school with them on, someone will punch me in the face. And that is not an exaggeration. Yeah. Like, you know, I'm being and like, they just didn't get it. And I can remember having like half decent trainees that I think I'd saved up for myself. And my ma got me these bad shoes and was like, they're for school. And I was like, I'm not wearing them. And she was like, they're fine, wear them. And like, it got to such a thing that they were both insistent that I'm wearing them. I used to wear them out the house, get round the corner and hide them in a bush and put my trainees on and go to school in them. Because let's say, if I'd have worn them at Bowden Comprehensive, nah, do you know what I mean?
That's definitely a generation thing, isn't it? Of like, but it's basically what you want.
Yeah, all
it's
right.
like, not fucking basic. I don't want basically what I want. I want what I want. You don't get it. Like, it is funny how much the world shifted, isn't it? This is, I mean, on topic for ending the year, isn't it? For the middle age shit. But that was.
But can you imagine
parents,
like, some of the
like,
stuff that
it's
goes
fucking
on
close
now?
enough. Like, it's not.
Like, you see, like, you know, I don't know, like limos for kids' parties and like, you know, these vans that turn up and they're all in the back playing, you know, Xbox and all that. There's no way in the world my dad.
Imagine.
I mean, you know, I was saying about having a sort out, wasn't I? And one thing I found in one box, and it brought back memories, like, and it was like, fucking hell, I remember, like, I looked at the date and I thought, yeah, that's right. So, like, in school, like, you know, I used to play badminton, and I was all right at it, like, and like there was a little crew of us that all had a game and joined the club, and then, you know, I played a couple of games for like Knowsley and all that. There was other lads who were better than me, like, but you know, I was into it, and it was good to be part of a club, and you know, and all of that. And I remember, like, I did quite well in, well, looking back, not that great, but you know, given the school and all the rest of it, and where I once was in that school and where I ended up, if you like, I nearly got suspended and lashed out and all that, and then did all right and got 10 GCSEs or whatever. But I remember saying to my dad when I got my GCSEs, I was like, you know, are you not like gonna like get me anything? And he's like, what do you mean? And I was like, you know, to say like, well done, to you know, like, well in, son, type of thing. And I had to proper talk him into it. And I remember like saying, well, and he was like, well, what is it you're after here? Like, do you know what I mean? And I was like, I want a good badminton racket, like, you know, one that's like one piece and made of carbon and not metal and dead heavy and shit. And he did buy me a decent racket, and I found the receipt for that. You know, just been randomly carting it around all these years, like what, 32 years. And it was like, in my mind, he'd paid a fair bit for that, and it was a Boss racket. 35 quid it was. It's like, fucking hell. Mad that I remember that as though it was like Boss, which just shows you that, like, yeah, I never got loads of Boss stuff, either because they didn't have much though, or they were minges, or both. I don't know.
Yeah, well, but look, it's Christmas, isn't it? We should. I feel like we should end with a bit of gratitude. That the reality
for the
is,
racket, Dad.
we were from a generation where people didn't have loads, and they did what they did their best. And I'm coming around to that more these days. Like, yeah, they did their best. They did what they did. They did what they thought was right, and that's all you can ask for.
Yeah.
And we live in a very, very different fucking world now, don't we? Like, and not. Genuinely, I know this is very much middle age and on brand and all that, but not for the better, I don't think. Like, I think it does people good to not get everything they want, and it builds character. And because the reality is, I see this, you know, with my niece and nephew and their generation and the people who've come below us. It's like we live in a world of entitlement now, and like even the way, like, you can watch whatever you want whenever you want. And we've talked about this, the whole, when you tell stories about going to Blockbuster Video and there was only 10 copies of a video for the whole town that you lived in to watch. So when a new film came out, it was like, we didn't get there in time. My niece and nephew were like, I remember telling them about that years ago, and they were like, so what? So like, if Harry Potter came out, only 10 people could watch it. Like, the old 10 families could watch it. Yeah. But that's it, yeah. You'd have to wait for them to bring it back, and then you'd
be fuming.
I'd be furious. Like, Dad, if you got there earlier. And my dad would end up coming back with always get me a Steven Seagal fucking movie. Like, why are we always watching Steven Seagal? And then he'd fall asleep after 5 minutes, and we're sitting watching this shit film. But it built character and turned us into the fucking grumpy middle-aged people we are now. So, you know, if it wasn't for that, you wouldn't have this podcast. We're well over. We've just been rambling on. We didn't get to half the stuff we were going to talk about as usual. You know the score by now. But that's it. We're done for Christmas.
Have a good one. Yeah.
Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for supporting us. I think you know how much we appreciate it by now, but if we want to say it again. As always, have a wonderful Christmas, whoever you're with, whatever you're doing. Make sure you look after yourself, look after each other. Have a great one, and we'll see you next week.
Have a boss one.